The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello and welcome back to the Icons of Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Timothy Kaitano, and today, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we have a good show for you. Now, it's 2025. Are you looking to make a good move this year? Well, this is the episode for you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, today's guest has been making moves, not just moves, but big moves in the DFW area. And well, with experience spanning over 20 years in the industry, you know what that means. He has a wealth of knowledge to share. Here, we always celebrate women in real estate, and she is absolutely killing it. So if you're looking for inspiration, if you're looking for tips on how you can become successful, then today's luminary is definitely going to help you with that. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome today's guest, Beth Caudill. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hello, really nice. I need somebody to introduce me like that every day. That's awesome.
Look, I always say this. I'm open to doing it. I can be there at your appointments, all right? Before you meet your clients, yeah, I walk in first and then you make a grand entrance. I give you a really, really nice intro. That should really set the tone for your meetings.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but one thing that I like is, I mean, you've definitely accomplished a lot, and 20 years in the industry is no joke, especially when you look at the fact that most people in the industry don't even make it past a year. I'm curious. We're gonna touch on that in a bit, but I always want to start off by getting to know the guests. We would love to know your story, where this all began, and what inspired you to pursue real estate.
Okay. You want me to just start at the beginning?
At the beginning.
Okay. I did not get into real estate till like my mid 30s, and I owned another business previously in our area. So I'm in the DFW area, but more north, like Denton-ish, like Denton's the top of the DFW Metroplex. And so I kind of operate from there to wherever in the DFW area. I had my business and it was a great business, but I wasn't making any money. And I had a client come to me and say, have you ever thought about real estate? Because I think you'd be really good. And I was like, I don't know. Tell me more. Like, if I can make money, yeah, I'm interested, right? So I quickly got my real estate license over the course of like 4 or 5 weeks, because I'm not one to, wait. I'm a really probably very impatient person, but then I got my license in August of 2004. I immediately started selling. It really, honestly, real estate was like the missing puzzle piece I didn't know I was missing. And I was like, this is crazy. I sold 10 houses in my first year, and I thought I was doing terrible because it was part-time. And I didn't realize normal full-time agents didn't sell 10 houses a year a lot of times. So then I just sort of expanded from there. I went to full-time in 2008, and that's when we were in the middle of the crash, basically. And I had, again, on my search to figure out how am I going to make money, I sold my other business. I started doing research on investing and what I could do to help the community, but also grow my business. So I started buying houses on the foreclosure steps and fixing and flipping them for the community. And at the same time, I was doing regular real estate too. I call it retail real estate, you know. I don't know. It's just like my little definitions. But so I started doing that. And so investing was a big deal for me. It came pretty natural as well. And I loved it. I love being able to get in. Well, I mean, it was a whole different time back then, but be able to get in there, help. I held on to a few of those properties, but I also flipped them, sold them, or if somebody was in a bad way, I might have been able to purchase the home from them and help them. And then I could either fix it up, sell it, or I could fix it up and rent it, whatever the situation may be, or help other investors do that kind of thing. That's was a big part of my business from like 2009 to 2012. In that time, I flipped over 100 houses. And, but at the same time, I've always tried to be, I've always been in the top agents around the DFW area. And I'm just always trying to involve really my life with real estate. So my kids were growing up at that time, so anything they were involved in, I became the team mom, the room mom, the whatever mom, and got myself connected to all the people that were involved in that organization and tried to help them. But also, they were going to know I was a real estate agent too. So eventually, those people came to me and say, "Hey, I need to buy or sell a house." Well, yes, of course, I'm going to help you. You're my friend. We have that level of trust because our kids did something together. And that's really what spring forward my career. I mean, just crazy. And I'm really passionate about real estate and I want to see people do well. And I want them to understand they don't need to be renting, they can buy a house, like investing yourself. And I even tell my tenants now that if they are good tenants, you know, there's all kinds of good and bad tenants, right? But I tell my tenants, you know, you don't need to be giving me your money. I want you to buy your own house and build wealth in yourself.
Mm.
Because when you are a renter, that's 100% interest versus that 6 or 7% interest rate on the house now on a, you know, for what they would do. And so it's just kind of changing people's mindsets that are, you know, don't even know how to buy or whatever. But so I've always been focused on that. And I've integrated my kids who are also grown up, and one's a lawyer now and one is a underwriter for mortgages. So now I involve myself in the community I'm in, and I am part of the Chamber of Commerce. I involve myself in the groups in the area that I like and that I can give back to, but then, you know, they might in turn need a realtor. So that's kind of how I've done my whole career.
Oh, that's amazing. I don't even know where to start because you have an amazing story. Now, I'm curious with the last part because you mentioned, your kids, you raised amazing kids who are in some way in the same space with you. Do you ever do business with them? Do you ever be like, hey, I know a person who can help you if you will need legal advice? I have a person. If you want to get a mortgage, I have a person for that. Are you constantly collaborating with your kids right now?
Well, so funny enough, I saw both of my kids yesterday.
Yeah.
And the lawyer I had lunch with, and I did have a legal question.
Mm.
And she's on the opposite side of it where she works for a nonprofit where they help tenants who have bad landlords who are getting wrongfully evicted. But I said, I have this question because I have a client, I need to list their house, and here's some problems I'm thinking they're going to have. And what do you think about that? So then she gives me her perspective. And then this particular question, she didn't really have an answer for. So I had to go to a different kind of attorney and just ask the question. But luckily, I have a network of people I can call. It doesn't have to be my kids. I can reach out to the lawyer, the doctor, the whatever, because I've made relationships with these people and I can just say, "Hey, I need to know this," and they'll answer me, and I think it's really key that I try to link up people with other people. So if I know somebody has a need for something, I'm going to hook them up. Whether that helps me or not, I believe it will help me in the long run. So I'm going to um, call, text, whatever, if I think they need something, or if they say, "Hey, I'm looking for I don't know, plumber," So, oh yeah, I know a plumber. I try this guy, and I try to give them maybe one to three people that they could choose from. And it is very typical that people will call me and say, "Hey, I need this. Where do I go? Who do I talk to?" And so I kind of want to be that go-to, and I want to be the person everybody knows. And that is something I hear very often. "Beth, you know everybody. Who do I need to talk to?" So I mean, that's a good position to be in.
That is a good position. And you like going back to when you first got into real estate, what I noticed is that with a lot of people that get into real estate, I'd say a small minority get into real estate because like they have dreams of getting into it. They've always planned it their whole lives. But a lot of people, oftentimes you find the people around you identify your potential, identify, that gift because they understand that you're passionate about helping people. When you were approached with the idea of getting into real estate, what was your initial reaction? Were you like, you know what, this is like the 2000s, 2004, man. Like, is this something I can do? How did you approach that conversation? Was it something you were excited about?
It actually was. So the guy kind of just put it out there, and I ended up with his wife about it later. And she's like, "Well, yeah, this is what you need to do." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, what I didn't know at the time was, really he was recruiting me to go in it was with Keller Williams to go into his downline,
Mhm.
and which is fine, because he helped me get into the business. And I, so I did not understand that part of the business back then. But I was kind of like, I know I need to find a business where I can make money, because the business I'm in right now, as much as I love it, it's not going to pay the bills like I need it to. And so yeah, I got into real estate. And I mean, I guess you are a little skeptical anyway when you do something like that. And it wasn't an intentional career switch at all.
Mhm.
It was just something that happened. I mean, because I got my first list. So I got my license at the end of August, and I got my first listing in October.
Wow.
And the people wanted to be my first listing. Like
Mm.
they told me that. They wanted me to be the first one, which is really nice. I mean, for me, because I was still learning, obviously. I'm always still learning, actually. And so they wanted to be the first one. So that was very nice. And I mean, I try to take care of people, and I think they try to take care of me. They want to make sure um, really they are going to come to me. I try to have, they always say have raving fans or whatever, but I do try to have that. And I do try to work on a referral basis with people. And I try to do client events and keep everybody engaged. But yeah, that first time I I didn't know. And so I just started asking a lot of questions till I got to where I'm like, "Okay, I think I could try this and see what happens."
One thing that I like that you mentioned was you you were learning and you're still learning. I think to someone that hears that from an agent that has, 20 years of experience, they can be like, well, what else is there to learn? But I think what a lot of people underestimate is there's always something new to learn, especially when you're in an industry that's always evolving. There's always a new way to stand out. You've been in the industry for 20 years. How have you been able to adapt to the changes that come with the real estate industry?
So, it's a good question. I mean, I can tell you what I did, but like, I don't look at it like, what can you give me? I look at it like, what can I do for you? And then in turn, I want that to enhance my business. So when I went to that very first year, I was rookie of the year.
Wow.
And it blew my mind away because I am a part-time agent at this point. Why in the world would you give me a rookie of the year? Well, rookie of the year has to sell the most houses in that first year, right? So I'm like, I don't get that. Like, because I'm always like, what more can I do?
Mhm.
What more can I do to get more things, you know? Not, there's a lot of people in this industry are like, what can you give me? You know, it's a whole different mindset. And so I think if people could look at it as contribution, not how much commission am I going to have, then they're going to see a whole difference in their level of production. Or that's just the way I work better. Um, but I had a time in my career, like in 2008 when I sold my business.
Mm.
It was in a bad way. Like I was in the hole from that business, and I had to figure out how I was going to do something. And that's how I always call that my Oprah moment, because that's when I started a whole new company besides real estate, which was my investment company, and try to figure out, how am I going to make money for my family, my kids, a future, something to pass down to them down the road. And I was really kind of at rock bottom then as far as finances in 2008. And I mean, I don't know, you just get inspired. And I had come up with it. I told my mom, I said, I have this idea. What do you think? And yeah, she helped and she invested with me in this new company. And that's where I started doing all the investing. And it was pretty amazing. It was like, I don't know, it just happened. But like, I'm always looking, seeking to find that next thing. Like, so I always want to figure out how to grow more.
Mm.
And yeah, and try to help people at the same time.
Yeah. One thing that always amazes me is, man, I'm amazed by moms that have to juggle real estate, because real estate in its own, like you'd say, even retail real estate in its own can be quite stressful and time consuming. But here you are, you're into retail real estate. You're an investor as well. How do you find the balance between that and making time for your family? Because here you are, you're raising amazing kids that are, on their path to do great things in the world. How do you find the time to be there for them and guide them along the way?
Well, I mean, when my kids were little, because they're 25 and 29 now, uh, like I did everything. I took my kids everywhere. I had to make sure people were okay with it. And I would just take them with me. And so real estate rubbed off on them by default.
Yeah.
They didn't have any choice. I remember being in a closing one time when I was really new in my career. And so my son had to sit out in the lobby. and fell asleep in the chair out there because, kids are always tired after school or whatever. And the escrow assistant came in and she's like, "Oh my gosh, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Look at this picture." And she had taken a picture of my kid asleep in the chair because he knew like I had to do this closing and was sitting in the chair and he just fell asleep. And she just happened to, like, literally to this day, she says, "That was the cutest thing I've ever seen." And so my kids just knew and they had to, but I incorporated everything with them.
Yeah.
T-ball practice, I was the mom, whatever, the baseball mom or whatever it was. I did orchestra trips. I went, everywhere with
Wow.
orchestra. We did just anything they did. I put myself into it so I could be part of their lives, but which in turn helped me in real estate too. So I would, make sure on my emails or whatever, it did say Beth Caudill, real estate agent. And it's just a gentle reminder. This is what I do if you need me, but I'm not shoving it down their throat. Like, "Hey, come buy a house with me." Like people get annoyed with that, but it's just a more soft approach, I think.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Um, I love the fact that you are passionate about helping others and you're also passionate about taking care of your family. You went on to join EXP, which is a brokerage that is very agent focused. How did that help contribute towards your goals as a mom to not just provide, but also leave a legacy for your family?
So I joined EXP back in 2017, and I that is another moment where I was like, "Well, this girl's telling me all this stuff. I don't know, but what if? What if it's true?" I always have that what if question because, like, really short story. But when I was a little kid, and I was like 10 years old or 12, I don't know, something a long time ago. My mom's like, "If you had $10,000, what would you do?" And my idea was that I would go buy this certain place and start a frozen yogurt shop. And then after that, it was like in like the early 90s, was the boom of frozen yogurt. And I'm like, "Well, what if I would have done that?" Even though I was a kid, I had no idea. But like, really, if you can, invest in yourself, take action and do those things. So that's what I did when I moved to EXP. It's another what if moment. What if? What if I do this and this happens? So going to EXP, I you do have the cap, but because I'm an icon, I just received my 8th icon in December.
Wow. Wow.
And the the thing is, you get so much back in stock, it's almost like they're paying you to be at EXP.
Mm.
And then at the same time, you get to learn things, and over this time EXP has grown so much. I was like number 1,000 in Texas and 3,000 in the country when I joined. And back then we would go to the Rosen Creek in Orlando, Florida, and have like EXP, shareholders or EXP Con. And I mean, we would all be in the same room with Glenn and all the movers and shakers. And so we know, we can talk to them. We've known them for a long time. And, I can call Gene Frederick if I need something, and he'll just go, "Okay, Beth," whatever that is. And so it's easy to be able to talk to people. It's super transparent, where never in my life had I ever met Gary Keller, or did I ever feel like I could approach him. I've always felt like I could approach Gary. I mean, I always felt like I could approach Glenn. I actually went to a Inman last week in New York, and Leo was there, and Wendy, and Wendy spoke, and Leo had spoke, and I talked to both of those people when I was there, and I never met Wendy. Leo and I had corresponded on like workplace, but Wendy I had not met. So she even messaged me afterwards, like, oh my gosh, it was so good to meet you. Like,
Yeah.
who does that? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's really nice because they actually care about their agents and what's going on. So it was nice that she did that. And it was good to get to meet her. And I was because we had messaged each other, and she goes, oh, yeah, come meet me at this place at 2 o'clock and I'll be there. And I said, okay. And it turns out I got to meet the chairperson for NAR, the new lady that's in Chicago, which was super cool.
Yeah.
They just had, Wendy goes, I forgot I had to have this meet and greet, but it happened to be all the leaders from the real estate industry. It was like a kind of a private event. So I got to meet a lot of the speakers from Inman, but I got to meet Wendy. I met another EXP gal who does Zoocasa from Canada. And she already has called me and set me up on a program to help her, to help that program grow. And I mean, just since last week. And then, but I got to meet all those people. I'm not a shy person, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to tell. I'm highly impatient, which probably is a flaw. And I think everybody is equal.
Mm.
Like, I don't care who you are, I treat everybody the same. And so if you're the CEO, I'm going to talk to you like you could be, you know, the person that sweeps the floor at night or whatever. I don't care. I had a listing one time where it was a famous person, and I did not know he was famous. And I toured the whole house, did the listing presentation, and at the very end, I'm like, so what do you think? How can we work together? And he started laughing at me,
Mm.
and he goes, you don't know me, do you?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Nope.
oh my gosh, y'all are really pretty people. I'm so sorry, I don't know. Like, I like y'all. I'd like to work with you. But he was laughing.
Mm.
And I go, okay. Yeah, he was famous. I just I didn't know his industry.
Mm.
And yeah, I got the listing that way
Wow.
by being unpresumptuous, like, right? And treating everybody fairly and not acting like that person was, anybody different. Although, I mean, I treat all my clients like they're special.
Mm.
So he felt that, so that was pretty cool. I've done a Dallas Cowboy player or two too, so that's kind of
Wow.
fun. Um, yeah, so I mean, and that just happens. And like I had clients from, those orchestra trips I've taken.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
had several clients from those.
Mm.
I just sold a big house, and the people moved to Detroit, and I sold their house. And that was, my kid graduated in 2017. So they've remembered me since then. And then, but everything has related back to that, from my previous job, even, which was not profitable, remember. I was able to build relationships on that. So now, because of that business, it's made my real estate business successful, if
Mm.
that makes sense. Like, it's the craziest thing. I never would have thought that because I poured my heart out into that business too.
Mm.
But I mean, I do love real estate. I feel like real estate was that missing puzzle piece. And so, yeah, I just think it's all about relationships and communication to be effective in this kind of world.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is definitely an amazing story, and I thank you so much for opening up. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you heard that, right? If you're looking for a home, you just got your license, you're looking for a home, you're looking for a place where you can connect with everybody, where everyone is always willing to talk to you, even the CEOs. You just heard that, right? EXP is the place. But because we're running out of time, I do want to give a special shout out to today's guest. If you are in the DFW area, you're looking for the best service in town, ladies and gentlemen, look no further. All right. Beth is here to guide you and take good care of you. All right. You're looking for the best service. Look, I'll make it even better for you. I know you've been looking at her screen. You've seen a number there. That's her number. Give her a call and she will take very good care of you. Whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, trust me, you'll be in the best hands for this. All right. So go ahead, give her a call, reach out to her and the team, and trust me, you will not regret it. You'll come back and you will thank me for this. All right. So her number is on the screen. Her details are in the description. So don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Reach out to her and you will be well taken care of. Beth, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the show. It was really inspiring hearing your story, going from, having your own business to being one of the movers and shakers in the industry today. It's amazing. It's inspiring to hear. So thank you so much for not just pouring into agents and our audience, but also into your kids. You've raised amazing kids and they've been taken from you. So it's no surprise that they're involved in the industry in one form or another. So thank you so much for being an amazing human being.
Thank you. My kids are my everything. And
Uh,
so, I mean, that is how I shaped my business, was
uh,
around them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be updated with everything that Beth and her team are doing this year, go ahead, visit their website, follow them on their socials. It will be in the description. Trust me, if you're looking to make the right move, the best move, and hey, the Move team is definitely here for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an amazing episode with your host, Timothy Kaitano, with the supermom, superwoman, and superwoman in real estate, Beth Caudill. Till we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, take care and peace.